On this week's Goal Show, Barcelona's president on the fight facing stricken head coach Tito Vilanova. It's Heskey versus Del Piero in the A-League. The Suzuki Cup Final takes centre stage in Southeast Asia. And Anderlecht bid to make it 9 in a row ahead of the winter break in Belgium. As it's Christmas, we thought we'd start this festive edition of the programme here in Rovaniemi in Lapland. The city in northern Finland recognised as the home of Santa Claus. And these are his elves, taking time out to join in training with FC Santa Claus.
It was founded in '92 with two clubs from Rovaniemi, two old clubs, and we started playing in second division, which is third highest level in Finland. Since then we have been playing with FC Santa Claus name in mostly in the third highest level.
And Santa Claus himself is a regular at games involving the team that bears his name.
Santa is fan of all sports. And of course he follows the FC Santa Claus closely when he has times. And sometime it's good time for Santa Claus to watch our games also.
4 inches of snow doesn't stop the team from enjoying a light-hearted training session. The league season here begins in February and runs until October. Away from the pitch, the players of FC Santa Claus are involved in the opening of thousands of letters sent to Rovaniemi before Christmas.
My name is Jukka Markkanen and I'm the midfielder. And this is the main post office of Santa Claus, and I came here to read the letters from the kids all over the world, and that's something nice to do once in a while when not playing football.
Once their work here is done, though, attention will turn to the new season. FC Santa Claus finished third from bottom in the last campaign. Perhaps they need some work on that famous Christmas tree formation.
There was Christmas cheer for the families of those who died in the Hillsborough disaster last week, as the High Court in London quashed the original inquest verdicts returned on 96 Liverpool football fans who lost their lives as a result of the 1989 disaster. A new inquest was ordered by the Lord Chief Justice. Barcelona dominated the headlines, first with news of a new contract for Lionel Messi. The 25-year-old agreed a new deal to tie him to the club until 2018 after his record-breaking 90-goal year. That was followed by the news that Barca's coach Tito Vilanova was set for cancer treatment. The 44-year-old has started 6 weeks of chemotherapy after an operation last week following a relapse of the illness.
The
first and most important thing for the club is Tito and his recovery. Everything else is secondary. We try to look as normal as possible, but not completely normal. Our coach is Tito, who leads the group and won't be here for a few weeks. We will wait and try to move on.
And on Friday, Barca were drawn against Milan in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Their rivals Real Madrid will be up against Manchester United in February, while Bayern take on Arsenal.
We've had some really tough and great games against German sides in the last couple of seasons in the Champions League, and have no doubt the Bayern game is going to be just the same. We've got German experience in the squad. Lucas Podolski played for Bayern for 3 seasons, so hopefully he can give us some inside knowledge. And, you know, I know the team will be out there going for it. We were at home in the first leg, so if we can get some kind of cushion, who knows, let's hope we can progress to the last 8.
Arsenal were given a boost with the news that 5 key players had agreed new contracts. Jack Wilshere, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Aaron Ramsey, Kieran Gibbs and Carl Jenkinson all committed their long-term futures to the London club.
It is important that we keep the same players together, and we might have a bit more chance to keep now the young players together that we had before, and that's why it's good news for the club.
Further afield, a group of Zenit St Petersburg supporters caused a stir after demanding the club only play white players and prohibit any black or gay ones from taking part. The open letter to the club sparked widespread criticism, with racism high on the agenda at the moment. Zenit will be Liverpool's opponent in the last 32 of the UEFA Europa League in February. Napoli became the latest club to be punished as part of the ongoing investigations into match fixing in Italy. They were handed a 2-point deduction after their former goalkeeper Matteo Gianello was banned for 39 months for an attempt to fix the Italian club's clash with Sampdoria in 2010. Paolo Cannavaro and Gianluca Grava were also handed 6-month bans for failing to report Gianello's wrongdoing. Former Chelsea star Raul Meireles was given an 11-game ban on Friday. Now with Fenerbahce in Turkey, he was found guilty of spitting at a referee during his side's derby with Galatasaray, an allegation he denies. German club Hoffenheim appointed Marco Kurz as their new head coach after the dismissal of Marcus Babbel. The 43-year-old will take up the position on the 1st of January, charged with guiding the club away from relegation. Former FIFA presidential candidate Mohammed bin Hammam was given a life ban by World Football's governing body. The 63-year-old former Asian soccer boss was embroiled in allegations of bribery in 2011 over his bid to oust Sepp Blatter. And finally, Manchester City's mercurial striker Mario Balotelli was given another chance to prove his worth by manager Roberto Mancini. Balotelli has failed to find form since Euro 2012. Last week, he dropped tribunal action against City after they gave him a 2-week fine for missing 11 games last season because of suspensions.
Sure, I am his manager, like the other players. If he deserves to have other chance, I give him other chance. But now he needs to deserve this. Yeah.
Australia's A-League has for the last 2 years been won by Brisbane Roar. But having lost coach Ange Postecoglou to Melbourne Victory in the close season, they're struggling this time around. Brisbane hosted Perth Glory on Friday, with new English-born coach Mike Mulvey in charge, following the removal of Rado Vidosic. But Besart Berisha's early misses suggested it was going to be a long night for the new boss. Perth finished as runners-up to Brisbane last season and stunned the home crowd when Scottish former Motherwell midfielder Stephen McGarry took aim from a considerable distance. Brisbane toiled in search of an equaliser, Henrique agonisingly close to making it 1-1 as the Perth goal led a charmed life. The home side kept on knocking at the door, but continued to frustrate the smallest crowd at the Suncorp Stadium all season. Perth clung on as Mulvey tasted defeat in his first game in charge since switching from Melbourne Victory's women's team.
On Saturday, the Newcastle Jets hosted Sydney FC with Emile Heskey and Alessandro Del Piero on opposing sides. Without a win in 5, it was Heskey's Jets side who took the lead.
Start for Newcastle Jets.
Craig Goodwin on target with a dead ball. The Jets continue to trouble their bottom-of-the-table opponents. James Virgili producing a smart save from Vedran Janjetovic here. The Sydney goalkeeper, though, was helpless to prevent a second Newcastle goal.
Scored for the Jets.
Virgili's cross turned in by Heskey. The former England striker's 6th A-League goal and his first since early November. With just 1 win in 7, Sydney were desperate for some inspiration. Panamanian striker Yairo Yao provided it with a goal back, but with Del Piero quiet, Sydney were unable to muster a comeback.
Well read by Yao, stayed composed. Unlucky Biringetti, great save.
It could have got worse for them after half-time, but for their goalkeeper. Newcastle climbing back into the top 6.
Janjetovic, the whistle in the mouth of Strebre Delovski. And Newcastle Jets have stopped the rot. They win for the first time in 5 rounds.
Nearly 30,000 were inside Melbourne's AMRI Park as Heart faced Victory in the second derby meeting of the season between the two sides. Heart had won the previous encounter on the opening day. It was Victory, however, who took the lead when their leading scorer Marco Rojas found the net for the 7th time this season. Brazilian midfielder Fred hadn't scored for more than a year, but he put that right with a header, and with 9 minutes left, it seemed the contest was destined for a draw. Australia international Archie Thompson had other ideas, though. His late foray forward rewarded with a goal, his effort just about crossing the line as Melbourne victory sealed a dramatic late win.
Has he got it right? It's not over the line there, but does it bounce over? I think it does. It does. Oh, he blows the full-time whistle. Hear the roars of relief from those in blue.
Round 12 of the regular season in Australia also saw leaders Central Coast, held by Wellington Phoenix, and the Western Sydney Wanderers stunned Adelaide with a 6-goal demolition. This is how the A-League table looks as the regular season approaches its halfway point. Central Coast have a 2-point advantage at the top, whilst defending champions Brisbane and Sydney FC occupy the bottom 2 places. Coming up in part 2 of this week's Goal Show, the best of the action from the final of the Southeast Asian Championship. And runaway leaders Anderlecht look to make it 9 wins in a row in Belgium. Welcome back to this week's Goal Show. Still to come, we're on the giant killing trail in Japan as the Emperor's Cup reaches its quarter-final stage. And can anyone stop Anderlecht's march towards another title in Belgium? In Southeast Asia, the final of the Suzuki Cup began on Wednesday, with Singapore hosting favourites Thailand. Seeking a record 4th title in this competition, Singapore began with purpose, and when Alexander Djuric was brought down, they were awarded a penalty. Faradin Mustafic dispatched his spot kick, but the referee decided several Singapore players had encroached and forced a retake.
Was there encroachment?
Mustafic went the other way with his second attempt, as Singapore hit the front inside 10 minutes. Thailand lost captain Panupong Wongza to an ankle injury before the break, but that didn't stop them pulling level on the hour mark. Poor marking leaving Abdul Lanzo free to score from close range. Parity didn't last long though, just 2 minutes later, and Khairul AMRI grabbed Singapore's second.
It's a wonderful goal for Singapore and Khairul AMRI. A good return ball from Alexander.
And in stoppage time, Baihaki Kaizan made it 3-1 in rather fortuitous circumstances, completing a fine first leg win for Singapore.
Post. Well, I think he's blown the final whistle anyway, the referee. The final score here.
The second leg took place in Bangkok on Saturday, with Thailand eager to claw back the 2-goal deficit. Needing to win by a clear 3-goal margin, Jakapan Pornsai was closest to scoring as Thailand began strongly. But he somehow contrived to head against the bar after a mistake by Singapore keeper Iswan Mahbud. The hosts continued to press, but Panupong Wingsa's tame effort summed up their wastefulness. It looked like Thailand would have nothing to show for their first half efforts until Kirati Kiaosombat's powerful header found the net.
Kirati Kiaosombat reduces the deficit for Thailand. It's now 1-0.
With the deadlock broken, Thailand continued the hunt for that crucial second goal. But Tirasil Dangda couldn't beat Mahbud to Tirathan Burmathan's searching cross. A long-range Pornsai free kick didn't trouble Mahbud as Thailand's opportunities began to run out. And Singapore could have put the result beyond doubt right on the final whistle. But such profligacy didn't matter to them as the visitors held on to secure a 3-2 aggregate win. They become the first side to win the trophy 4 times after successes in 1998, 2004 and 2007.
What a win this has turned out to be. The trophy to Khairul Ishaq, the captain of the Lions, and the 2012 AFF Suzuki Cup champions. It's Team Singapore who make it 4 titles to their name.
The domestic season is concluding in Japan this week with the Emperor's Cup into its final stages. It was second division Jeff United hosting top flight Kashima Antlers for a place in the semis on Sunday. Yuya Osako had a good opportunity for Kashima early on, only for Masahiro Okamoto to smother the danger. And Hitoshi Sagahata had to be alert to keep out this chance. Osako again went close at the end of the half, but more desperate Jeff defending kept the score at 0-0 heading into the break. Yasushi Endo has scored 6 goals this season for Kashima and should have had a 7th when he found the ball in space.
The luxury of the entire goal to aim for.
Eventually, Kashima's pressure did tell, and it was no surprise to see Osako make the breakthrough.
Back of the net.
The striker netting his 17th goal of the campaign after capitalising on some neat work from Juninho.
Plenty of resolve.
The danger wasn't over though. Sagahata called on one last time to ensure Kashima held on to their lead and reached the last 4. Kashima are no strangers to success in the Emperor's Cup, having lifted the trophy 4 times in the last 15 years, most recently in 2010.
Kashima Antlers won. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
They'll now face newly relegated Gamba Osaka for a place in their second final in 3 years. Yokohama F. Marinos won a marathon penalty shootout against Nagoya Grampus 7-6, setting up a last 4 clash with Kashiwa Reysol. The final will be played in Tokyo on New Year's Day.
The winter break is still a week away in the Belgian Pro League, and Lokeren seem determined to end their year on a high. Just 1 point from their last 3 matches had seen Peter May's side drop off the pace of leaders Anderlecht. But they had the perfect chance to arrest that slide when they travelled to struggling Kortrijk. 3 straight losses seemed to have destroyed Kortrijk's confidence, and that was evident as Lokeren went ahead after 17 minutes. Liat Maric was the man to do it, the Swiss defender finishing from close range to give the visitors the lead against the run of play. It only got worse for the hosts, Maric netting his second on 35 minutes, this time from the penalty spot. Kortrijk were in need of some inspiration, and it came from captain Ernest NFOR, whose curling free kick was too good for Boubacar Barry to keep out. There's more drama to come after the break, starting when Kortrijk's Argentine striker Pablo Chavarria saw red just past the hour mark. Ervin Zukanovic then missed a penalty for the hosts after referee Christophe Delacour dubiously pointed to the spot. Lokeren had blown a 2-goal lead at Ghent, and it looked like another comeback was on the cards when Mustafa Usala drew Kortrijk level with 12 minutes to play. But it wasn't to be for the home side. Croatian Ivan Leko setting up Hamdi Harbawi to score the winner for Lokeren.
The action continued in Belgium on Sunday. Club Brugge travelling to Standard Liège with 3rd place in their sights. But their optimism was short-lived as Standard took the lead after just 50 seconds. A poor back pass from Club Brugge captain Karl Herfkens gave Imo Ezekiel an opening, and although his initial shot was saved, the Nigerian made no mistake from the rebound. Maxime Lestienne did his best to get the visitors back in it. Meiji Kashima at full stretch to keep out his free kick just before half-time. It was Lestienne who would eventually bring Brugge level 6 minutes after the break. Spaniard Victor Vazquez had been brought on at half-time, and it was his incisive pass which sent Lestienne clear through on goal. That combination would continue to haunt Standard as the match wore on. Vazquez again the provider, as Lestienne scored his 2nd of the match and his 8th of the campaign to put Club Brugge ahead. The away side didn't look back from their Pro League top scorer Carlos Bacca netting his 17th goal of the season deep into injury time to seal the points for Club Brugge.
There was no shortage of fanfare as league leaders Anderlecht travelled to Genk later on Sunday. Anderlecht hadn't lost in nearly 2 months, but were held to a 2-2 draw by Genk last time they met. They got off to the perfect start at the Cristal Arena though, Guillaume Gillet heading the visitors into the lead on 35 minutes after Lucas Billia's set piece. That seemed to knock the wind out of Genk, and 9 minutes later they found themselves 2 down. Tom de Sutter squeezing his shot under Christophe van Hout after Billia's storming run out of defence. Whatever Genk coach Mario Bain said to his players at the interval must have worked, however, as the hosts came out with renewed vigour in the second period. They pulled one back on 61 minutes, Kalidou Koulibaly prodding home from close range after a corner kick. And 15 minutes later they were level, GLYNOR PLET finishing well after bringing down Thomas Buffel's lofted ball. But just when the hosts thought that had stolen a share of the points, disaster struck. Kanu's curling effort ricocheting off the woodwork and Van Hout's back, giving de Sutter the easiest of finishes. Genk were handed a lifeline when PLET was hauled down in the box. Only for Jelle Vossen to clatter his spot kick onto the crossbar. Alexander Yakovenko then rubbed salt into the wound with a fourth for Anderlecht deep into injury time. The league leaders extending the gap at the top to 8 points with 1 game left before the winter break. Zulte Waregem lost ground on the leaders after their 1-1 draw with Mons, while Club Brugge climbed to 3rd after their comeback at Liège. Kortrijk's hopes of a Europa League playoff spot appear slim. Their 4th straight loss leaves them 7 points adrift of the top 6. At the bottom, Cercle Brugge claim their 3rd straight draw against Waasland Beveren, but are still well short of safety. Liège are in the relegation zone on goal difference, but face a tough finish to 2012 with a trip to Anderlecht on Thursday.
Singapore star Khairul AMRI is the latest winner of our goal of the week. His Suzuki Cup strike against the Philippines earned more than 30% of the votes in our global poll on goal.com. And coming up, 5 more goals from the week just finished, from which to choose your favourites. Stephen McGarry's strike for Perth in the A-League is goal 1. Goal 2 is Archie Thompson's dramatic late winner for Melbourne victory in the Melbourne Derby. AMRI makes the cut again with goal 3. His efforts against Thailand means he could complete back-to-back victories in our weekly poll. Goal 4 is from Belgium and NFOR's free kick for Kortrijk against Lokeren. And goal 5 is GLYNOR PLET's strike for Genk, the Dutchman showing a deft touch to pull down a Thomas Buffel pass. All you have to do now is visit the video section on goal.com where you can register your vote. And we wish all our viewers a very Merry Christmas. On next week's Goal Show, semi-final highlights from the Emperor's Cup in Japan. And we'll be looking back on an action-packed year as 2012 comes to an end.